Can stress be a good thing? You say, no way, how can it be? Well, let's find out why it can be good, but also why it's a problem, and what to do about it in Learning Sphere's Learning Bite, Managing Personal Stress. Stress can be a good thing, but understand the difference. It's like fire. Under control, it's great and we can use it to do stuff, like cook our dinner. But if it gets out of control, then it can cause huge damage, like a house fire or a bushfire. Or a guitar string. It needs some tension to play, but too much and it snaps. So this is the trick. Keep stress under control so we don't snap or burn out. But how big a problem is it? One researcher states stress is estimated to cost Australian employers about $30 billion per year. So if you ask yourself, why am I feeling different? Then perhaps we need to work at managing your stress. As workers, we have a duty to take reasonable care of our health and safety and not adversely affect others' health and safety. We have to cooperate with reasonable instructions on health and safety. This might include adjusting to job roles or following workplace policies to prevent bullying. You know what? This topic on stress is actually a work health and safety topic. Learn to spot stress in yourself and fellow workers. For security officers, this could mean sudden mood changes, getting angry quickly instead of listening, or an unusual fear of common work tasks. We all need to be aware of mental health. Sadly, some play down the symptoms and won't speak up. If you are physically sick, you go to a doctor. Or if you see your workmate is sick, you tell him to go to a doctor. Well, it's the same for stress and mental health. Ask if they're okay. Encourage the person to speak up. If not, tell your supervisor. So where does all that stress come from at work? Here's an infographic from Safe Work Australia on work-related mental disorders. Work pressures and bullying are big ones, but for security officers, exposure to violence is also realistic. Different people can react differently to the same stress. Let's look at 3 common sources of stress and what we can do about them. Let's look at these 3. Trauma, tiredness or fatigue, and other people. Let's start with the first one. Security officers are sometimes faced with life-threatening situations or called to help those who have been victims of assault or other crimes. This can be shocking and upsetting. At the same time, we may seem to handle it okay, but also there may be a delayed response. It's distressing to deal with violence and it may not affect us straight away. It could be some time later that the stress disturbs us, and so don't be afraid to get help. Be sure to get involved in debriefing soon after an incident, because this is an important way to reduce long-term effects. Debriefing may be as simple as an informal chat at handover, or a more formal occasion where the incident was considered a critical incident. Participating in debriefing or reviewing an incident within a day or 2 of the event is useful to deal with emotional issues. We need the opportunity to review the incident and to discuss our feelings in a safe, supportive and confidential environment. Clarifying what occurred and our reactions to the behaviour is a necessary step in settling concerns about safety, security and competency. And this helps you to return to a normal routine and a positive feeling. A debriefing session is usually held in a group and each person involved can tell the whole story of the event. It can also help everyone to put the event in perspective, as well as to minimise the damaging impact to themselves and recover more quickly. And we can identify and plan ways to reduce the possibility of a repeat of the incident. Tiredness or fatigue is a big problem in our modern world. Working full-time and shifts can affect your relationships with friends. How can you maintain work-life balance without missing out? Our brains are amazingly flexible, but the fast-paced, information-flooded world we live in is exhausting. Our brains love distraction, and all the buzzing, beeping and dinging doesn't let our brain recover. On top of this, you often work shifts, which is different to our body's natural rhythms. So, what can we do? You shouldn't need me to tell you to relax, but a stimulating, exciting adventure is usually not relaxing or recuperating. Switch off the TV and the smartphone and get outside in the park. These days, some call it mindfulness. We need to be around the natural world, maybe a park or garden. We need slow thinking and enough sleep for our brain to work properly. Especially when you're doing shift work, it's important to manage your sleep periods. Make sure the area is dark, it's cool, it's quiet, and that smartphone is on silent mode. Remember, get in control, get some quiet time, get the slow thinking, and try for at least 8 hours of sleep. So we've looked at trauma and fatigue, but what about other people? We've discussed conflict and workplace relationships in earlier sessions, but when things get out of control, then it's important to let someone know. Suffering in silence may only make you feel more pressured. Researchers on stress in the workplace recommend talking to your employer. If they don't know there's a problem, they can't help. This doesn't mean blowing your top. Don't go venting in rage and frustration. Be businesslike and avoid a confrontational approach. And it's similar for other work-related problems, such as conflicts with workmates, harassments, or bullying. Look for productive ways to confront such problems. Maybe do some research first. But don't expect perfection of yourself or others. You also have other organisational guidelines to follow and an employee assistance policy. Remember some basics for handling stress. Get a healthy diet. Avoid overeating. Cultivate such qualities as mildness and patience and get some regular exercise. Try to get in control of your thoughts and emotions. What do you do to relieve stress? Some like playing a sport or music. Some go to the gym. For some it's shopping. That's a retail therapy. For me, I enjoy just a walk on the beach or even some gardening. I reckon get out there and enjoy some of the nature is a great way to relieve stress. But what works for you? Think of productive ways that you can handle stress. In summary, what do you need to do? Managing stress is a real-life work health and safety issue. Identify the signs in yourself and others, get enough rest, and get help when you face traumatic or other serious situations. Hey, thanks for joining us again, and don't forget to complete the short test below. We'd love to hear your feedback, so send an email to remember@learningsphere.com.au with your thoughts.